Hey, thanks for joining us here on 9 News Watch for a detailed look at your Colorado weather forecast. If you're joining us on Facebook Live, remember, you can type in those comments below, nice ones, and I'll try and get to as many of those comments and questions as possible about this kind of wacky weather pattern that we're in. Yesterday was just wild here in Colorado. We had 79-mile-an-hour winds actually this morning along parts of the foothills. We had a foot of snow in the mountains. We had tornado warnings on the eastern plains. We had large hail on the eastern plains. We had temperatures into the low 80s in the eastern plains, and in the mountains we had those lows down into the teens. We just had a full kitchen sink here worth of weather over the last 24 hours. It's calmer for your day today, but as you can tell behind me, it's still snowing a little bit outside there. This is the Eisenhower Tunnel. Now, just a little bit of a weather nerd, sorry for this for a quick second here. What's happening here in the mountains is we've still got that moisture that is trapped in the mountains, and so it kind of has to snow itself out. So long story short, we're going to probably still see some of these leftover snowflakes continue for us in the mountains for the next couple of hours. The system that led to that snow yesterday is long gone. It's into the Dakotas, Nebraska at this point, but as you can tell there's still some snow. Again, that's because that moisture gets trapped into the valleys and it has to kind of wring itself out. Think about taking a wet sponge and then you have that first big squeeze and you've still got a little bit of that moisture left over. You kind of need to do that second one. That's kind of what's going on in the mountains. All right, long story short on that one. Thanks for tolerating it. Now, as we get into the northeastern plains, still holding on some really strong winds at this hour. I'll show you those in just a second. Eastern plains, where we didn't get the bitter cold last night, frost advisory until 9 a.m. on your Thursday morning. That includes a lot of the agriculture areas here in the eastern plains, so keep that in mind. Cover up that tender vegetation. Temperatures getting down into the mid-30s tonight out that way. Wind gust forecast, well, those winds that we've dealt with in the mountains, boy, in the foothills, it's been a blustery one for us in the northern foothills in particular. Those winds do start to back on off as we head over the next few hours. I'll show you some of those current wind gusts here in just a second, but still a little bit breezy on the southeastern side of the state as we head through tonight and tomorrow, but certainly much calmer than what we saw yesterday. Now, current winds, Berthoud Pass, 40 miles an hour. We've had snow covering out that area here over the last few days as well. The last few hours, I should say, as well. Northeast Colorado, Sterling, Holyoke, Ray, that's where we had some of that active severe weather yesterday. Sterling had a quarter-inch size hail. Holyoke, Phillips County had a tornado warning last night. Well, now it's just kind of blustery conditions that are a big concern, a little bit stronger as you head north along I-80 for friends in the Nebraska Panhandle. Now, the Doppler radar, HD Doppler radar, much calmer scene overall than what we saw this time. Yesterday, we had thunder snow, thunder sleet, all sorts of kind of wacky weather moving its way on through. Much calmer now, but again, still a little bit in the way of some of that snowfall that is working its way through the mountains at this point. What we're kind of left behind with now, it's kind of cold in the mountains. Still looking at a lot of those temperatures at or below freezing in some cases, and places that are not below freezing in the 30s and low 40s. Meantime, eastern plains, as usual, including the urban corridor, we are looking at those temperatures in the mid to upper 50s, and in some cases, some low to mid 60s. Those snow showers I mentioned, kind of still wringing out that sponge a little bit as a result. We're still talking about a little bit of snow that'll continue for the next few hours into the mountains, but it won't be a big deal. Not looking for much more in the way of accumulations. That is out ahead of our next storm system, and this is the one that could bring a few wet snowflakes to the Denver area tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. It won't be a big deal, but I'll get into that here in just a second. Now, tonight, temperatures drop back to 32 degrees. Denver this morning officially got down to 29. That marked our first freeze of the winter season. That said, and this is kind of an important point here, folks, last night, that freeze, we officially had one, but the airport observation site is at Denver International Airport. Now, most of the city probably did not get down to freezing. I was looking at some of the temperatures this morning. Most of us were kind of in the 33 to 36 degree range for last night. So, long story short, not everyone got down to freezing. And certainly, if you're joining us from Denver and really kind of in the heart of the city, you probably didn't get down to freezing last night. Tonight, you probably will. So cover that tender vegetation, blow out your sprinklers today, because we are going to be looking at those temperatures probably getting down to freezing, if not a bit below, in the city proper tonight. So again, worth noting that, yes, we had our first official freeze last night, but not everybody. I'll tell you what, my house, I'm right near I-25 and I-70. We got down to 34 last night, so not everyone got that frost or a freeze last night. You'll probably get it tonight. Meantime, tomorrow, temperatures going to be into the low 50s. That might even be a struggle for us to get that high. And with those cloudy skies, with our next system moving its way on through, scattered showers, and yes, there is a snowflake that is in there, that is when we could see our first flakes of the season fly in Denver. It doesn't look like a big deal, no matter, even if we do see a bit of snow for us here in Denver, worst case scenario, we'd probably see a dusting, maybe a little bit more than that, of wet, slushy snow on car tops and grassy surfaces for tomorrow. We'll see a band of showers move its way on through. It'll probably start as rain right around the rush hour, and then we'll see some of that rain potentially change over to a few wet snowflakes, especially as you get into the foothills and the Palmer Divide. Again, we're not looking for much in the way of accumulation. So here's a closer look in here. And again, I want to kind of focus in on the mountains where we will certainly be seeing some snow tomorrow afternoon. Again, there's some of that snow moving its way through I-70, the peak-to-peak highway, as well as 285, certainly the higher elevations, 6,500, 7,000 feet, looking at that snow for sure. Question is what happens here into the metro area. Most of the computer models are showing rain. I would say that there's a chance for it to flip over to some snow at the very end, maybe get some of those big pancake flakes, those huge snowflakes, when it's just above freezing. Wouldn't be surprised if we see some of those flying around the rush hour, the end of it tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night, if we're able to just pull in enough in the way of cold air. Now, tomorrow, if we do see snow, it's going to be a Snapchat snow. It's going to be, you're going to be bombarded. You know what I'm talking about on social media when you get bombarded with 35 of the exact same message at the exact same time. That's what we're going to be looking at in terms of that possible snow impact for tomorrow night. It will not be a big deal for us here in the Denver area. Even into the foothills of the Palmer Divide, it's going to be tough for us to see much in the way of accumulation. So this is just a Snapchat snow. It's just going to be a lot of people telling you the exact same thing on repeat over that time frame if we do see some of those wet snowflakes flying, which is not a guarantee. Again, I'd say it's about 50-50 that we do see flakes here in Denver. I'd say probably 60-40. I think we will see some flakes here in Denver tomorrow night, but again, it's not necessarily a guarantee. And then Friday, it's cold. Notice that temperature, 29, so it's going to be very, very chilly on your Friday morning. Then Saturday and Sunday, it is gorgeous. And by the way, for those of you that might be going to the Broncos game on Sunday or running the Colfax half or full marathon, I'm actually one of those folks doing that. Definitely a great day on Sunday. By the way, it's what a lot of runners would term PR weather, where it's personal record weather, because it's going to be so nice and kind of crisp in the morning. Runners generally want it kind of around 40-45 degrees in the morning when you start that run. That's exactly where we're going to be. So it's going to be gorgeous weather for all things really through the weekend weather-wise. You can grill out on Sunday afternoon in shorts and a t-shirt. And then early next week, it'll turn a bit breezy, and we do get a front that swings way on through. It looks dry, but generally speaking, we look a lot calmer as we head over the next few days. So the weekend ahead, again, we'll be looking at some 60s and some 70s, but again, there's a look at that forecast. We've actually bumped up those temperatures a little bit as we get into the weekend. So hopefully it gives you a little bit of an idea about what we will be looking. I'm going to take a look at some of your comments, and I do appreciate all of you for joining us here on Facebook Live and writing in. Elizabeth asking about how much snow in Parker for tomorrow. Parker, you might get I would say maybe a dusting for you in Parker. I mean, again, Jamestown, Parker, Denver, nobody here, unless you're at let's go back to this here for a quick second. I'm going to pull up this map and show you some of that snow working its way on through. So notice the computer models here. What they're doing is they're showing mostly rain, certainly through the day part hours. The question is, notice up here that top right-hand side of your screen, the timing. The sun sets around 6:30. We're not going to see any accumulations really at all if we see, even if we have an optimistic scenario here, at least if you want snow, even if we do see snow before the sun sets, it's just going to have a very hard time sticking. It's been so warm, the ground is warm, you're going to have still some of that sunlight that even though it's shrouded by clouds, you'll still have that melting some of the snow on contact as it reaches the surface. So long story short, what you're going to probably need is for this, and I'm going to push this forward a little bit here, you're going to need some snow kind of around 7:30, 8 o'clock to be flying. And in that scenario, it looks like the moisture will be starting to lighten on up. So we'll probably be talking about maybe a few snowflakes, maybe a dusting for us here in through much of the metro area, and that does include you in Parker. I see Victoria writing about Jamestown, Travis asking about Denver. Again, anything that's below 6,000 feet, you're going to have a hard time seeing much in the way of accumulations for your day tomorrow. Worst case scenario, we're talking about a little dusting on your car tops and on those grassy surfaces, patio furniture. You can send those pics to Kyle and make him happy about that. But again, for most of us, we're really just not talking about a high impact snow event. You get to 7,000 feet or above, certainly 7,500 feet, and we will be looking at some of those higher impacts out that way. So hopefully that gives you an idea about what we're looking at tomorrow. Really, again, I'm going to pull back up that snow meter. This is just a Snapchat snow. This is going to be the first snow of the season. Everyone kind of getting all excited and giddy about it, and you'll be bombarded with a lot of social media posts about it, but that's about it. That's going to be what we're going to be talking about in a worst case scenario for tomorrow night. And I want to emphasize, it's not a guarantee we see snowflakes here in Denver. It looks like, again, if we do see some, it would be pretty low impact. Val asking about snow in Yellowstone. Yeah, Yellowstone National Park got pounded with snow up there that way earlier on this week. Doesn't look like you'll be seeing much of that as we head through the next few days. So hopefully it's giving you a pretty good idea about what we are expecting for that Colorado weather forecast. We'll pull back up that 7-day forecast for you here as well and leave you with that. Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Watch and on Facebook Live. It's been a pleasure having you with us. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.